Is game still, is it still a thing nowadays, or is it, I guess I call it Riz, but that's what I'm trying to say. Are people more reliant on apps and meeting people through friends now, or is it still, is people still approaching?
Well, I mean, it's always, I mean, approaching women in the daytime has always been a niche thing. Even like 10 years ago, it was still quite niche. But the thing is, it's like, you know, an attractive girl in London, she's getting approached, you know, multiple times a day. You know, that's just the reality. And not necessarily from guys that know about day game or know about pickup or watch YouTube videos and stuff. You know, it's just confident random guys, you know, that will take their chance.
She gets her pick from 20 dudes.
Yeah, but of course, you know, in the dating app, you know, the low barrier to entry, everyone's on it, you know, everyone can do it. It's very simple and easy. So yeah, I mean, of course, most guys are on there. Some girls are on there as well. But if a girl is on there, she's going to be speaking to like 20 guys at once.
Got no chance, mate. The algorithm is not always in your favour.
It's like you do have a chance, but not with a girl that you probably would like to ideally get. That's the thing. But it also depends where you are in the world, and because like if I go to a second world country, dating apps are actually genuinely quite useful for me.
Like where, for instance?
You know, Latin America, you know, far parts of Eastern Europe, you know. Yeah, like dating apps are actually genuinely quite useful. Whereas in the West, in like for example in London, you know, most guys get fucked all on dating apps. It's just a load of crap. I mean, I do sometimes match with some quite attractive girls on dating apps in somewhere like London, but in terms of actually getting them out, you know, very rarely. They almost always like ghost or just disappear or get, you know, distracted, whatever. I think like in my entire life in London, I would say I've maybe managed to get maybe like 2 or 3 dates from dating apps out on a date. But it's just ridiculously competitive, and dating apps are just not very effective in this particular location because of the economics. It's all down to economics, supply and demand.
What do you like to see on a girl's profile? What do you not like to see?
On a dating app?
Yeah. Like a typical red flag, so to say.
I mean, just degenerate stuff, really. I mean,
if she's pregnant on the profile pic, which I've seen once before.
I mean,
I don't know if that's something you want
like,
to deal with.
Just bimboness, just like stupid stuff. Like I don't mind a bit of stupidity, you know. I don't mind a bit of a girl, you know, girls who like to have a bit of a laugh or whatever. Not taking life too seriously, but like just like obnoxious stuff. Like I don't know.
So if you can't handle me, my worst,
yeah,
you ain't gonna get
like
my best.
Marilyn Monroe quotes, just
Marilyn
basic
Monroe.
bitch stuff, you know, just dumb
The
shit.
original Bad Bee. Great inspiration.
A lot of the time, you go on these dating apps and you see a girl who's like kind of hot, but she has very sort of provocative, like you know, sort of poses, that sort of thing, really. And like a part of me is sort of thinking like, what is this girl actually about? Like, what is she actually doing? You know,
Right.
and then you sort of dig a little bit deeper and you try and sort of think maybe she's like, maybe you even match with her or whatever.
So-
and then she's got her Instagram, you know, on her profile.
Got a few
whatever.
links on there.
And then you check out the Instagram and it says,
10,000
hey, check out my
followers.
links, and then it links to like an OnlyFans or something. Because actually the reality is that on a personality level, you're not going to get on with most people anyway, especially in a place like the UK. You know, someone like me isn't going to get along, certainly not in like an intimate relationship with a lot of people anyway, and that's just the reality. Without being too stereotypical, I mean, I find, you know, foreign girls, not just on a looks basis, but just on a personality level, I find them to be a little bit more easygoing, a little bit more open-minded, a bit more down to earth, and just easier to talk to, and fun to sort of be around, fun to sort of connect with. That's just what I find, just from my own anecdotal experiences. Whereas I feel like with, let's say, English people, yes, there is a bit of a slightly closed off vibe unless there's alcohol involved. I feel like English people are a little bit more closed-minded, a
Can you
little
keep
bit more
up with the drink?
judgmental. You know,
How much you drink?
I don't know. Me personally,
Yeah.
none, zero.
Zero. Like, no matter what. Like, So would you be called boring for not like taking
Yeah,
a beer?
well, the thing is, yeah, of course, some people might consider it boring, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that. If a girl thinks it's boring, then
I mean, unfortunately, it does work. It does
Yeah.
get you a bit more smooth, a bit more funnier. You're more open to be yourself, but you don't want to rely on that.
yeah, exactly. It's like I'd rather just be a boring fuck than have to like rely on that. And I feel like why can't you should be able to have a good vibe sober anyway. And like initially, let's say like the first, I'm gonna say like 10 minutes at least. You're not gonna be like on a really intimate level with that person. But let's say on a date scenario, within like 20 minutes, you can get pretty deep with that person if you want to. You try hard enough, and then they might be reciprocating, in which case, fantastic.
I'm trying not to go out just to specifically to meet someone or go to this place. When it happens, if I meet
The
someone,
night game is
then
that.
whatever.
That's
it
what
happens.
night game is. As a guy, right? Are you really going to the club to hang out with your friends,
Dance
or to
with your
listen,
friends,
or to have a little dance
guys,
with your friends,
guys don't do that.
or to listen to the amazing music?
Yeah, but are you going to do that every night just because, this place is
I
lit?
mean, I
this is
find
the place to be.
night game a little bit tedious, especially because of the amount of cock blocking that goes on there. And
Oh, there's always someone taller.
no, it's just like there's. It's just tedious. I did a bit in Ukraine. That was kind of fun, but even then, it was still kind of shit looking back on it.
Do you see the fakeness in
Yeah,
the
the
interactions?
fakeness, the superficiality. The thing is, you have to be a more energetic version of yourself, but otherwise it's not going to go anywhere. Because imagine, like, I just go up to a girl, right, talking like I'm talking right now, just all chilled and relaxed. It's just,
Loud music, it doesn't work.
it's like you've got to put more oomph into it. Otherwise,
Yeah, no, you kind of, not that you have to drink beforehand, I suppose it helps to have a few shots, and then you'll be that Mr. Entertainer, the exciting guy. It's like, yeah, I love this song, actually no, forget about it, so what's your name? Yeah, I love you, I hate you, all this stuff. You can't just, have a normal conversation with you. You've got to be sort of on that club vibe,
See, that's
whatever
why I
that
much
is.
prefer day game. 'Cause you can actually, it's like combining a normal conversation with a bit of that subtle attraction stuff, and without being too full on. It's like there's a lot of there's a lot more subtlety to it, which I personally prefer.
What if one day you meet a girl you really like, when you're not even trying to do game, you're not out looking for someone, but it happens in the most unexpected scenario when you're just buying a book, doing your shopping, and it happens in some spontaneous situation, right? Okay, maybe in the movies it's always like, oh, you dropped something, or like, and there's like, whoa, something's going on here, there's some connection, and you didn't have to pursue it.
Yeah.
Would you be open to that kind of
Oh yeah.
scenario?
Oh,
and you'd be like, you know what, I quit the game. But that's a bit extreme. Like,
It's not about-
that's asking too much.
It's
maybe.
not about the situation; it's about the person.
But right, yeah.
Okay, of course, it would be nice to meet the girl in the bookstore, but you might end up meeting the
Sure,
love of your
sure.
life in McDonald's. You don't know.
You never know, right?
Well,
yeah,
unless you
having
never
a
go to
big-
McDonald's, but like you know what I mean.
What would be your ideal girl if you had to stick like nationality-wise? Be Spanish.
I'm not too
Brit-
picky. When it comes to nationality, like I actually don't give a fuck about nationality at all. Like it doesn't. It's such a minor thing. I'm not picky about that at all. Obviously, a lot of the girls that I go for, and you can see it on the channel, it's all just foreign girls, and it's all just like Eastern
They're all
Europeans or
bad
Mediterraneans
beats,
and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Tens.
It's like, it's like, okay, there's obviously a disproportionate amount of like English girls, for example, on the channel. But I'm 100% open to, dating an English girl. But I have a certain type. I have a certain. Okay, I don't want to really say type, but I do like more sort of exotic features. She looks like sort of, a bit more sort of Mediterranean or Eastern European.
What about
I do find that more
tattoos and piercings? Are you comfortable?
I
with
don't.
them
I
or
don't
not so
mind.
much?
I don't mind a few. I don't mind a few tattoos. I don't like a sleeve. I find that a big turn off.
Depends
a full
on the
sleeve.
tattoo as well. When I was in Warsaw, I do see a lot of girls with like beautifully decorated tattoos, but the tattoos themselves would be a bit scary. So she might have like a spider web, a snake, but very well designed, very well drawn. But it would be like on the neck, on the face. It would be like 666, and personally for me that would be a red flag.
For me, minimal. For me, quite minimal would be ideal. It's not like I feel. It's not like I think it's like I'm like judging them for it.
Yeah.
It's just that it's just purely physical attraction. Like I don't. For me, if a girl's got like a sleeve, an arm which is like a sleeve full of tattoos, for me it's a big turn off. It just comes across a bit masculine, and it just doesn't.
What if she's really sweet?
Nah, still, I mean, there needs to be that physical attraction there as well. For me, it's just a bit of a turn off, really. But you know, that's fine.
If you think about the girl's character, her soul, her spirit, like where she's at as well. That's something you're going to find out later on.
Yeah, of course. But the reason you approach a girl is mainly, you know,
on the physical side. Yeah, no,
I mean,
I
you're
get
obviously
that,
judging her based on, I guess, fashion and her sort of her sense, her vibe, how she kind of carries herself. But what I look for when I see a girl, and if I decide to approach her, is obviously the physical side of things. Am I physically attracted? But it's also the vibe. How does she carry herself? How sort of what is she giving sort of feminine energy?
You kind of get an idea even before you go up to a person. Like, do I think I might get along with this person?
Yeah.
Like even before, just the way they dress,
I mean,
like
you do
carry
judge it,
themselves.
of course.
And or this kind of person might get along with me. I think
Yeah,
this
yeah.
girl might like me because we seem similar. But the only way you find out is when you talk to her. You never
Yeah.
know. You might be pleasantly surprised. You might be really disappointed. So it's a roll of the dice. It's really random.
I mean, certainly with fashion, you can almost always tell. You know, like in the West, certainly in Western Europe. I'm not too sure about America. Probably New York, certainly. Definitely London and pretty much all of the UK, and also most of Europe, like Netherlands, Germany, Scandinavia as well. It's like girls are wearing very baggy clothing.
Yeah, it's very
baggy clothing.
was it alternative?
Yeah, it's like
chic,
a hipster,
like
90s sort of hipster.
piercing,
sort of,
yeah.
You know, when the girl's sort of wearing some clothing which is like 10 sizes too big for her, it just doesn't look feminine. It's just oversized. It's not attractive in the slightest. And so for me, I just very rarely would go for that ever. It just doesn't resonate with me at all. I don't like it. And yeah, I am sort of prejudging them to an extent. Like she could be really a nice person, really sweet, and actually genuinely could be quite attractive. But it's just the mere fact that that's what she's wearing sort of kills it for me a little bit.
Like it's hard to pick something specific that you like about her style, because if her style is shit, then you just have to go on that she has a pretty face and hopefully a nice personality. Yeah.
You know,
So I just like your aura. I like your
the girl
vibe.
doesn't want to really be approached by a guy who's still in his pajamas, right? When he's
Unless you're Justin Bieber or this is the extreme
she's
case.
like 16 years
this is
old.
Hollywood's
But, a high quality. Think about it. We're talking about high quality girls here. You know, they have a certain level of expectations, as do we. You know, and that's how it should be.
Thanks for watching. If you want to be able to do what you see me do in these videos, head over to my online course, which covers pretty much everything you need to know about day game to get to a good level and actually implement it in a manageable way. Link is in the description.